Hi, guys. So we're learning about the Holocaust. This is the new thing. We learned about civil rights movement for 2 months. Now we're moving on to the Holocaust, which happened before. So the book that we're reading from is What Was the Holocaust? It's an awesome book. And I wrote it up here, What Was the Holocaust by Gail Herman. And we're going to start. We're going to start with a letter from the editor. When a book has a letter to begin with, it means that there's something very serious on the inside of the book. So, to our readers, this book is about an event in history that is so terrible, it seems almost impossible to believe it actually happened. But it did. The Holocaust refers to the murder of 12 million people in Europe. 6 million of them were Jewish. It didn't happen all that long ago. From 1939 to the middle of 1945. After you finish reading this book, you will know who planned the Holocaust and where it took place and how it was carried out. But one thing you won't learn is why it happened. That's because there really is no way to explain something that is so purely evil. For a long time, we thought about whether or not to publish a book about the Holocaust. We wondered if the subject was too awful for young readers, but we decided it was such an important event that not including the Holocaust in the series would be wrong. The few survivors of the Holocaust are very old now. When they are no longer alive, it will be up to books to tell the painful story of what happened. Very likely, you will have lots of questions after you finish reading this. We hope you turn to your family or your teachers to talk about them. All right, guys, Chapter 1. What was the Holocaust? May 1945. Valeria, a small town in what is now the Czech Republic. Gerda Wiseman stood outside of an old bicycle factory. She weighed 65 pounds. Her hair was white, although she was not even 21. Inside the empty building, dozens of women lay on straw. Most were sick. Many were dying. Like Gerda, they were all Jewish. For many years, they had suffered under Nazi Germany. For Gerda, the horror began 6 years earlier. It was late summer. She was 15 years old. Look how pretty she is. She used to have brown hair, but when the chapter started, she had white hair and she looked really sick. On September 1st, 1939, the weather was glorious. The sky a bright blue suddenly. German airplanes blocked the sun. They roared over Gerda's home in Blesko, Poland. Tanks rolled down the street. The Germans were invading Poland. It was the start of World War II, which lasted in Europe until May 1945. We forgot to put World War II up here. Very important information. Many local people waved Nazi flags. Here's the Nazi flag with a swastika. They cheered for their new leader, right here, Adolf Hitler. They were glad Hitler had taken over Poland. Oh no, is that good or bad? Yeah. Hitler hoped to take over all of Europe. The Jews of Blesko were not happy at all. They knew of the Nazis' hatred for Jews. Gerda and her family were told to leave their home so local German Poles could move on. Oh, so they could move in. Gerda's garden was fenced off with a sign that said, "No dogs or Jews allowed!" They lived in a basement with no water or electricity. After a while, all Jews in Blesko were rounded up. Trucks took them to different prison camps. Gerda was separated from her mother. Would that make you happy or sad if you never saw your mom again? Sad. Me too. She never saw anybody else in her family again either. Through the rest of the war, Gerda was moved from one concentration camp to another. She labored in Nazi-run factories. She hauled coal into trains. By 1945, she was half dead, and yet Gerda was one of the more fortunate ones. She survived. 6 million Jews did not. They were killed by Nazis in concentration camps. About 6 million other victims who also led to their deaths. Gay people, Roma, disabled people, and people from certain religious groups. So who did they not like? The Nazis. Oh, this one doesn't work. Sorry, guys. The Nazis hated who? Roma, Jews, gay people, and disabled people, different religions, and different politics. That day in 1945 at the factory, Gerda saw a car approach. 2 men, United States soldiers, jumped out. One came over. He was big and strong. To Gerda, he looked like a god. Does anybody here speak German or English? He asked in German. I speak German, Gerda answered. And then she added, we're all Jewish, you know. So am I, the man said. His name was Kurt Klein. May I see the other ladies, he added. Then the man held the door for Gerda to go inside the factory. It was a simple, polite thing to do, but it made her feel human again. 1 year later, Gerda and Kurt Klein were married. Gerda Weissman's wartime story ended on a note of hope. That was rare for millions who suffered during the Holocaust. The word Holocaust is rooted in Greek, means sacrifice by fire. But it also means any great destruction and loss of life. From 1939 to 1945, all across Europe, Jews and people from other groups were murdered simply because of who they were. How did this happen? Stay tuned, guys. We'll read the second chapter in a little bit. Repeat and listen to this video and watch this video as many times as you need. Bye, guys.